Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime. I'm Manny Rodriguez. In today's episode, I want to cover former Family Feud contestant has been arrested for the murder of his estranged wife. We're going to dive into what we know at this time as the mother of three was found brutally shot multiple times in her home. Let's go ahead and dive into what we know at this time. And so this mother of three, Rebecca Bliefnick, has been taken from this world way too soon. Police have been investigating the death of the mother of three, who was shot multiple times and now has arrested her estranged husband on suspicion of murder. And here he is, the former contestant. You see, Rebecca Bliefnick, 41 years old, she was found dead in her home by a family member on February 23rd after they became concerned that she had not picked up her three children from school in Quincy, Illinois. And so officers, they were trying to investigate into this, and they went into this home, which is where her husband lived, and officers swooped at the home of her former partner, Timothy Bliefnick, just this week, which would be the day before this, because today is Tuesday, and they did this yesterday on a Monday. And this was 2 weeks after they had searched the same property on Hampshire Street. You see, he did not live far from her at all. And so while they're investigating the death of the mother of three, who again was shot multiple times, they raided the home of her estranged husband. And so it was an 8 a.m. Wednesday morning, just a mile away from Rebecca's property on Kentucky Road. Her husband, Tim Bliefnick, he lives at this location, and it is understood that the pair were undergoing a divorce, and they were in the process. They were going through the whole proceedings. And sources say that the business developer, Bliefnick, he was very cooperative with officers and even handed over his keys to the home which he rents and his car so that they can do their investigation. But you see, it wasn't for 2 weeks later when they finally arrested him. And even at that time, when they were investigating, Bliefnick, he was stopped by officers outside of the property, and he was taken to a relative's house following the conversation with officers. And at that time, Quincy police, they did confirm that they raided the house and a person was temporarily detained and then released. That person was Tim. This is Tim, as you can see, obviously. The house, as I shared, his house was just a mile away from Rebecca's home on Kentucky Road, where she lived with her three sons before she was shot dead multiple times. Prosecutors branded her death as an act of domestic violence. And Rebecca, she's a nurse, an award-winning nurse. She had previously filed a restraining order against Tim and his father before she was then hit with a restraining order by her husband, Tim. In this picture, this is an image from when they had their family on Family Feud. And you can see Tim's dad, Ray, and himself in this image. Now, prosecutors say that the crime was not a random act. You see, Assistant State's Attorney Josh Jones, he said, this is an act of domestic violence. Every victim needs to be seen, heard, and believed. While our thoughts and prayers are with Rebecca Bliefnick's family and her children, our focus and efforts remain on bringing her murderer to justice. Bliefnick, he had been arrested on 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 of home invasion and remains in Adams County Jail before today's court hearing. He reportedly attended her wake but skipped her funeral service because he did not want to be a distraction. That's what he shared. But his lawyer is insisting that Rebecca's estranged husband is innocent. And she said that she is preparing a series of court filings to protect his interests and preserve his constitutional rights. Casey Schnack, she even added, I have requested but have not received copies of the charging documents and arrest warrant. We will be evaluating his casing, making decisions as more information comes in. Now, she even says seeking an OP in a divorce is not uncommon gameplay in Adams County. The state's attorney office needs a narrative. It appears that domestic violence is that narrative. She also confirmed that Bliefnick had not previously been arrested and their children had never been removed from the home due to any domestic violence issues. Now, Rebecca's sister, she set up a GoFundMe for more than $60,000 of a $100,000 goal, which will fund her funeral and care for her 3 children. Here is Rebecca's home where she was found deceased. And her sister wrote in the GoFundMe, despite the circumstances of her death, she is remembered for the life she cherished, a life of compassion, generosity, faith, and fierce love for her family. She leaves behind 3 young children and an entire community who loved her more than anything. Becky always envisioned herself working hands-on in the medical profession, so it was no surprise when she chose a career in nursing, her true calling, where she was able to provide care and comfort to people on a daily basis. And this is the chief who announced the arrest of her estranged husband, Timothy Bliefnick. Again, Timothy, he appeared on Family Feud with his mother, brothers, and father in 2021, but his estranged wife was not in that image at all. She was not on this. They were going through their problems even back in 2021. And so Bliefnick, he was said to be very cooperative with officers when they swooped on his property on March 1st and handed over his keys to the home, which he rents, and his car. Here is that moment right after he was stopped and talked to a sheriff. And so this St. Peter's school, this is where the 3 kids attended, this Catholic school where she did not show up to pick up her 3 kids. And Timothy, he was stopped by officers, as I shared, outside of his property, and you can see the whole family here, but he was stopped outside of the property and taken to a relative's house following the conversation with officers. And so a spokesman for Rebecca's family said of the arrest, while we remain heartbroken, we are thankful to the Quincy Police Department and all who have worked tirelessly in service of justice for Becky. While the arrest provides a step towards closure, this journey is far from over and the investigation continues. We are thankful for your continued respect for our privacy as we navigate this next painful chapter. Our highest priority remains protecting and loving Becky's sons, who were the lights of her life. As we continue mourning, we will love and care for them in the ways we know she would want. And they share, we appreciate any support of our GoFundMe, which was created to support her boy's future, offset family expenses related to Becky's death, and to establish a scholarship fund in Becky's name. The support for our family means so much and truly speaks volumes about Becky's impact on the world. Rebecca and Tim, they're said to have been married since 2009, but at the time of her death were going through divorce proceedings, though nothing was finalized. And the couple together, they have 3 sons together but were living separately at the time of her death, with court records showing their split was filed in February 2021. And concerned family members, they were alarmed after Rebecca, a nurse, failed to collect her 3 sons from school. Officers responded to her home at 3:32 p.m. and have remained on site since, removing evidence from the property. And as I shared, Police Chief Adam Yates said that such a violent crime is rare in the small town, which has only 40,000 residents. And in a statement, the chief said on February 23rd, Rebecca Bliefnick, a 41-year-old mother of 3, was found shot to death in her home in the 2500 block of Kentucky Road. Since that day, detectives with the Quincy Police Department have been working nonstop, gathering information, collecting evidence, and piecing together the events that led to Miss Bliefnick's death. I want to remind everyone that in our criminal justice, individuals are presumed to be innocent until proven guilty. A great deal of work went into getting to this point in the investigation. There is much work yet to be done, and the investigation continues, but today's development is a significant step forward in the search for justice for Rebecca. I am very proud of the men and women of the Quincy Police Department. Also, it is important to acknowledge that the assistance and cooperation of the public was key to moving this investigation forward. This brutal crime has had the Quincy community on edge and our residents living in fear. I hope today's announcement, the arrest of this man, can begin to calm some of those concerns. That said, is a good reminder to not become complacent. Make sure you lock your doors, turn on exterior lights, be aware of your surroundings, and report suspicious activity to the police. These are things we should always do. We must look out for one another and work together to make Quincy as safe as possible. To Miss Bliefnick's family, nothing we do as a police department will ever bring Rebecca back to you and her 3 boys. All we can do is use our tools, talents, and every available resource to bring you justice. Our thoughts and prayers remain with you. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Becky. Becky Bliefnick. Taken from this world way too soon. You know, my friends, it is reasons like that as to why I do these stories. Here's the truth. Domestic violence is a very bad, serious thing. And truth is, I don't see it ever stopping. Court orders, protection orders, it truly does not seem to help at all. What do you think? Do you think a protection order ever does help? Because if someone is going to do the most heinous, they're going to do it. And here he is being held without bail in the murder of his estranged wife, Becky Bliefnick, a nurse and a mother of 3. This former Family Feud contestant. Why would he do such a thing? My question, though, why do people think they'll get away with it? Well, maybe because some do, but not that many. Can that many actually get away with it? But truth is, we do know, unfortunately, it happens. Here he is, Timothy Bliefnick. Why would he do such a thing? Why would it ever lead to doing this to the mother of your child? Allegedly. Because that is what police are saying. This Illinois man who once competed on Family Feud disputes, Family Feud, was arrested on Monday in the murder of his estranged wife. And so this brutal crime, it truly has left the Quincy community on edge, because at first they didn't know what to think. Now, truth is, if you follow true crime, you know a lot of people were already pointing fingers at him. It's always the husband they're going to look at first. Always, 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 always. How many times do you watch a true crime show or a comedy or anything, and someone's like, I heard this today on a show I was watching, and a girl said, I'm really getting into true crime. I think I want to write true crime. The husband always does it. That was the comment, something along those lines. But she said, the husband always does it. Here's the truth. Husbands out there, you're not going to get away with it. You're not. Don't do it. Do not do it. Truth is, you have bigger fish to fry than worrying about the other human finding you. But at the end of the day, you will not get away with this. And hopefully no one ever gets away with this. But, I think of Suzanne Morphew. Husband was arrested, didn't have anything on him really, and no signs of anything. So if he is the perpetrator, right now he's getting away with murder, right? So some people do get away with this stuff. If he's not, I'm not saying he is, but if he's not, then someone else is getting away with this. But right now, truth is, right now we need justice for Becky. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Deep True Crime. Rest in peace, Becky. Taken from this world way too soon. My friends, if this is the type of content you like to follow, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on that like if you got some value out of this, because that tells YouTube there's value. Show it to more people. And at the end of the day, I want to be a voice for these victims. Becky was taken away from this world way too soon. Until next time, my friends. Hey, if you have any requests on any stories you'd like for me to cover, let me know in the comments. I'm doing my best to give you the full deets on what is going on in this crazy world we live in. I'm Manny Rodriguez, and this has been another episode of Deep True Crime. Until next time, my friends, peace.